For 3 years now, FDNY emergency service paramedics have been working without a contract, and they say it's forcing many of their first responders to quit.
Union officials say the staffing shortages have gotten so bad that more than 100 FDNY ambulances are out of service because there aren't enough workers to drive them, leading to longer response times, putting lives at risk. Joining us this morning is Anthony Almohera. He is the FDNY EMS Lieutenant and Vice President of the Uniform EMS Officers Union Local 3621. Anthony, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's begin with how many emergency workers are there currently in New York City, and can you explain exactly what it is that you do and how this is going to affect you?
At the moment, we're roughly about 4,100 members. That's including everybody from the chiefs all the way down to the EMTs. We should be double that number for the call volume we have. We're over 5,000 calls a day, breaking 6,000 often in a 24-hour period. We were, before the pandemic, around 4,600 members, so we're 500 below the pandemic. What we do is we respond to 911 calls, just like cops and firefighters. When you call 911, you have a choice of three. Oftentimes, you get all three. But for some reason, the city is not valuing one of the three, which is EMS. And the impact on that is not only on us as a service. We've had 14 members commit suicide since 2020. We've had numerous people leave the job and get injured, et cetera, et cetera. We lost 10 members to COVID who passed away, unfortunately. The impact is not only to the workers, to the EMTs and paramedics, but to the public. That's the greater impact. You do not have experienced personnel coming to your house to take care of you.
Right.
Roughly 70% of the workforce right now has less than 5 years experience.
Okay, so you say that you're dealing with a reduced workforce to begin with ever since COVID, down 500 members, and now you've had this 3-year-long contract negotiation that seems to be stuck. There must be sticking points in this. What is it that the EMS workers need in order to get this contract across the finish line?
We need pay and benefit parity with our fellow 911 brothers and sisters in fire PD. Right now, a top pay EMT is making $60,000 a year. That's it. Compared with fire PD corrections and sanitations, which is in excess of $100,000 a year. In our contract negotiations, as you can see right now, I'm in a uniform, right? Fire department uniform. The city refuses to recognize us as a uniform service. They still are calling us civilians. Now, that may be semantics to some of the people watching, but for contractual purposes, there is a different offer that's given to uniform personnel. We're not even offered that. We won uniform status in the early 2000s. We have never been recognized officially by the city as uniform. This has led to differences in pay, wages, and benefits. The thing we need is pay and benefit parity. You have to have people stay here and be able to take care of their families, and then you can build out the service from there.
Okay, so because you're talking about the staffing shortages, the question is for those folks who are watching right now, what does it look like, right, when someone calls 911 and there's a response to an emergency? How is it affecting them?
15 to 20-minute response times, maybe more. I worked Manhattan on overtime Friday and Saturday. It took me to go from 34th Street to 58th Street, 25 minutes with traffic and the distance I had to go because I wasn't the closest unit, because the other units are either out of service or they're overwhelmed with being so busy. Something the audience should know is, in our most serious calls, time is of essence, obviously. If you go into cardiac arrest, biological death happens after 6 minutes. If it takes me longer than 6 minutes to get there, then we don't know if we can get you back. And right now, the response times are creeping up between 10 to 15 minutes. In certain areas of the city, they're over 20 to 25 minutes for you to get an ambulance to you.
Right.
This is critical.
Are you the only ones that are responding in situations like this where you don't have enough staffing personnel? Are other emergency services backfilling to make sure that they get to New Yorkers in need?
No. No, cops, I mean, you may call 911 and get a cop, who comes because it's part of their protocols, or you may get firefighters, but they don't do what we do. I carry 60 different medications. I intubate, I do CPR, and read EKGs, et cetera, et cetera. So you're getting the hospital brought to you.
Yeah.
Other first responders come, they try and help, but they can't.
I just have to leave it here because we're almost out of time. But what have the conversations been looking like as of late?
With the city, they're not. The last contractual meeting we had was months ago. We're not confident that Mayor Adams is going to hold true to his promise of giving us pay and benefit parity, which is what he ran on. The rest is up in the air. We don't know what it's going to look like in the future. We're not hopeful, and it's reflecting because we're losing 10 to 15 people a week are quitting FDNY EMS.
And it's just such a dire situation right now, especially with the response times for New Yorkers. Lieutenant Anthony Almahara, thanks for updating us on the progress, and of course, stay in touch with us so that we know exactly what's going on.
Thank you again for having me.